Good day everyone, and you're welcome to this webinar. Today I'll be talking to us about planning and preparation during the COVID-19 era. How do you plan and prepare for this season and even afterwards? The objectives for this webinar include 1. How to stay relevant as educators during this period, and also looking at a few online learning resources and activities. Now you might be wondering why all this falls about online activities, online resources. Is it necessary? Let me give you a few things to think about here. WHO just described this pandemic as the worst since World War II. We've not seen anything like this before. It's a very serious situation. It has also been said that Africa will be most likely be worse off even after this era. Why is this so? It's not surprising. Our medical systems are not as effective as they should be, and even the behavior of the people. We have a lot of very ignorant people. We have people that still don't believe the coronavirus exists. These are the people we're dealing with in Nigeria. So it's possible that this thing lasts a lot longer than you think. According to the latest figures released by the UNESCO, it says that 1.3 billion learners around the world were not able to attend school. This is talking about primary schools, secondary schools, tertiary schools, all schools around. As at March 23rd, 2020, 1.3 billion learners were out of school. So what this means is, in a matter of weeks, the coronavirus has changed how students are educated all over the world. Now, this changes give us a glimpse of how education could change for better or for worse. We don't know how long this is going to last. So, we may hope and pray that yes, in the next 2-3 weeks, this thing will be up. But what if 6 months down the line, we're still here? How are you going to remain relevant as educators, as teachers, as a school? How do you remain relevant in this season? That's what this is about. This epidemic that we're having, this crisis that we're having, has affected so many sectors around the world, including the educational sector. So how has it affected the educational sector? Let's look at them. Number 1, this crisis has brought about innovation in the educational sector. What do I mean by that? Before the coronavirus era, we have seen very little or no technology involvement in education, as we are seeing all in other sectors of the world. Now, this is not surprising. One of the reasons is most people in the educational sector right now are digital migrants. What that means is they were born in an era that digitalization wasn't so common. Everything wasn't as digitalized as it is now. But now they have migrated into an era where just about everything is done in the digital version, and it's been a challenge for them to switch from that non-digital setting that they're used to into a digital setting. And that's why we have seen that struggle. However, during this period, in a matter of weeks, we have seen how a number of teachers have switched to digital forms of teaching and learning. I was discussing with a colleague a few weeks back, and he was saying to me that there's a particular friend of ours as well, a much older colleague, that prior to this time, even to get him to use a laptop or a computer in his lesson was a major challenge for him. But he was surprised to see him having lessons with his children online. If that guy could change, then everybody can change. So we've seen how this crisis has caused innovation in the education sector. Another way this crisis has affected the education sector is this. We are seeing a lot of public and private educational partnerships. What do I mean by this? In the past few weeks, we've seen a lot of large consortiums between the public and the private sectors coming together. We have seen big chip companies like Microsoft and so on. Now, what are they doing? They are beginning to look at education as the future of the world, and they are all partnering with education. We've seen what Microsoft is doing to the point now that Microsoft has packages for children, they have packages for teachers, they have trainings, CPDs for teachers. They are investing heavily in education. In the same way, Google is doing a lot in the educational sector now. You can see things like Google Classrooms, Google Hangouts, a lot of things, a lot of innovation Google is bringing into education as well, just to ensure this takes place. Even in Korea, Samsung is doing a lot in the educational sector as well. China is not left out. We've seen Alibaba and the likes in education. They are investing heavily in education, and what that means is a lot of innovation, a lot of changes are bound to take place in the education sector. The third thing that could change in the educational sector is this. Because teaching and learning is going to be switched to largely online forms, what's going to happen is countries that are vast in this area will be the countries that will shine. Unfortunately, developing countries like many African countries that are not so developed in this area will begin to struggle. So what you're going to begin to see is a larger divide between the educated and the non-educated. Those are the things that are going to happen in the education sector. Now, we have seen how technology is disrupting every sector all over the world. Now, we've seen how large machines and intelligent machines are taking over the jobs that humans used to do before. So, for example, gone are the days when you had to go to a bank physically and queue up in front of a teller to get cash physically. Nowadays, we have ATMs scattered all over the nation. What that means is those aspects have been automated, the machines have replaced the humans that we had there. We've seen cases where mega airports, from start to finish, you can actually finish everything you want to do without having a face-to-face contact with anybody. You can check in online yourself, you can book your seats, you can do everything you want to do, and you don't need to meet anybody. That is how machines are taking over the world. We've seen cases like Amazon that are having fully digitalized shopping centers where from start to finish you can shop for whatever it is you want to shop without having a human interface. That's what technology and AI is doing to all over the world. And guess what? The educational sector is not immune from this as well. So the question is this: is technology a threat to your profession? Well, I don't think so. I think the only people that will be threatened by the advancements we're seeing in technology are those that refuse to move with the times. For as long as you refuse to innovate with the times, you probably will be cut out of the education sector as well. So that's the reason why we have put this together. We expect that in this period, you're not just sitting back doing nothing, you're sharpening your skills, you're looking at how to innovate by the time you get back to school. So let's go ahead and look at some e-learning tools. Now, in today's e-learning environment, there are basically two types of learning, two main groups of learning. We have one that is called the synchronous kind of learning, and the second type is called the asynchronous kind of learning. I'm going to explain the two of them very quickly. So what is the synchronous kind of learning? Just like the word says, synchronous, synchronize, it means everything is happening at the same time. Any learning tool that is real time, such as instant messaging and so on, these things are called synchronous learning because everybody is online, everybody is active at the same time. Synchronous. Now, there are advantages and disadvantages of this kind of learning. What are the advantages? Number one, the main benefit of the synchronous kind of learning is that it gives the children, it gives the learners an opportunity to feel connected. Because they are live there with their teachers, with other children as well, it gives them that sense of connection rather than feeling isolated. That's one of the main benefits of the synchronous kind of learning. However, the downside of synchronous learning is this: because everybody has to be online at the same time, it might prove a bit difficult. I mean, we have different people in different parts of the world or different parts of the state doing different things at different times. It might be a bit challenging to get everybody together online at the same time. So that's one of the downsides of the synchronous learning. The second kind of e-learning environment is the asynchronous kind of learning. The asynchronous kind of learning. Now, this is a situation where the coursework is given out in emails and forms that are not real time. Asynchronous, it is not synchronized. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of the asynchronous kind of learning? Number one, the main advantage is that the children are allowed to run through the curriculum at their own pace. They don't have to rush through the curriculum. They're not having to do it at anyone's pace, but at their own pace. So for those of them that are quite quickly paced, they can move through the curriculum briskly. But those that need a bit more time, they could actually run through their curriculum at their own pace without affecting any other person's learning. That's one of the main benefits of the asynchronous kind of learning. What are the downsides of the asynchronous kind of learning? Some children are not naturally motivated. So when you leave a child all by themselves, hoping that they will get to learn, go through a coursework by themselves, some of them need a bit of motivation. They need a bit of push, which they will get if it was a synchronous kind of learning, because while they are there, you see what they're doing and you can follow up with them. So those are the advantages and disadvantages of the asynchronous kind of learning. Now, ideally, there is no one size fits all. So proper e-learning platforms should have a bit of both, because we've seen the advantages and the disadvantages of both areas. So what I'm going to do now is give a few examples about each of these kinds of learning. Let's start with the synchronous kind of learning. The synchronous kind of learning. Now, let me mention this here. The amount of resources you can use are enormous. We can't go through everything. I'm just going to pick a few, especially those that I have used, and talk about them. And I would advise you do some more research on your own and find out more things about them. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is Zoom. Zoom, Z-O-O-M. Zoom has become quite popular very recently, especially due to this season. What it does is it gives you an opportunity for video conferencing, audio conferencing. You can link up people from different parts of the world at the same time. Now, there are different packages on Zoom. I'll run you through the 4 of them very quickly. For educators, for teachers, I would advise you stick to just the first 2 packages that Zoom has. So Zoom has a free package, which is called the basic plan. What does this give you access to? It gives you, for one-on-one meetings, it gives you unlimited access for one-on-one meetings. However, for group meetings, for between 2 and 100 people, so you have access to have up to 100 people together at the same time. But the free plan, the basic plan, only gives you 40 minutes per meeting. 40 minutes per meeting. Well, come to think of that, that's fair enough. Many of our lessons today are averaging 40 minutes. So you can actually run the 40 minutes lesson using Zoom with the free plan, absolutely free. So you have 40 minutes with that. Another plan that they have is called the Pro Plan. The Pro Plan, this gives you access to between 2 and 100 participants as well. However, you have 24 hours meeting time. So you can have your meetings for up to 24 hours when you have the Pro Plan. The Pro Plan is about $15 per month. If you would like to invest in that as well, it makes a lot of sense. Unlike having just a limited time of 40 minutes, you have unlimited time. You also have an advantage to record your videos with the Pro Plan. That feature isn't available with the basic plan as well. You can't record any of the videos, the sessions you have there. But with the Pro Plan, you can actually record the videos and send back to participants that maybe were not available during the live session, or even for them to review the lesson afterwards. So those are the packages for Zoom that I'm going to look at. The next package I'm going to look at for synchronous kind of learning is Skype. Skype is also a very popular platform. It's also for video and audio conferencing. You can pull so many people together on Skype. It's quite easy to use, has the mobile version, has the PC version as well. Now, Skype is absolutely free, not unless you want to involve on making phone calls, SMSs and all of that. You can pay a bit extra for that. However, it's just for video conferencing, it's absolutely free, and it has a maximum of 50 participants per time. So you can have up to 50 people connect per time on Skype. The next I'm going to look at is Google Hangouts. Google Hangouts, remember I mentioned earlier, Google is also investing heavily in education now, and that's one of the packages we have available. It's a very fantastic platform as well for you to be able to have video and audio conferencing with the children. For Google Hangouts, you can have as many as 25 participants per time. 25 participants per time. You might want to look at that as well. That's also a very good resource to use. Another resource you can use is WhatsApp. Now that's very popular. Everybody knows about WhatsApp. You can use WhatsApp video conferencing as well. The limitations you have with that is WhatsApp has options for just 4 participants per time. So if you're having a very small group, you can think of WhatsApp. Or if you're having group discussions where you have groups of children in different parts and you want to bring them together, you can use the WhatsApp, because you can only connect 4 devices at a time. Now, for synchronous kind of learning as well, we have a number of learning management tools, learning management systems that have these embedded as part of their packages. So there are several of these learning management softwares. You can check them out. I'll mention just a few here. You can look at WizIQ. WizIQ is a very good one. You can look at Dynamis. Dynamis is also a very good LMS for you. You can look at Moodle. You can look at Purple Mash. Look at Education City. Look at Edmodo, look at Google Classrooms. These are all examples of learning management systems that can incorporate some of this into their packages. So those are the examples of synchronous kinds of learning. Let's look at the second type, which is the asynchronous kind of learning. So here are a few examples of the asynchronous kind of learning. The first I will look at is Khan Academy. Khan Academy, it's become very popular in the recent times. It's gotten hundreds and hundreds of videos for different subjects, so you might want to take a look at them and look for the appropriate resources to use with your own children. Another example for the asynchronous kind of learning is called the Bill Nye Science Guide. Now, Bill Nye is a very fantastic science teacher. He does a lot of lessons, he does a lot of games, activities for children. For science, particularly Bill Nye, you can look that up. The website is ideal for live lessons, it's ideal for project lessons, so many things on there. Check that out. That's Bill Nye. You might also want to look at code.org. Code.org is specifically for computer science. Very fantastic resource as well. It has lessons as well. It has project-based lessons. It has so many things involved in that as well. You might want to look at that as well. Another very good example is the Brain Pop. The Brain Pop, that's an animated educational site for children. It has science, social studies, English, maths, so many things involved in that. Technology, you might want to investigate that. The Brain Pop, very good resource. The last one I'm going to look at is the National Geographic for Kids. National Geographic Kids website. It's a very fantastic resource as well. It has so many educational resources that your children could use. Now, like I said, these materials are not exhaustive. These are just a few that I have mentioned. In subsequent webinars, I'll be giving more details about each and every one of these examples I've just mentioned. Thank you very much for seeing this video. I would encourage you to like all our pages on all our social media platforms, especially our YouTube channel, because we'll be having a lot of resources like this for you to work with. Thank you very much. See you next time. Bye for now.